You want to know the brutal truth that no one tells you? The moment you stop needing her is the moment she starts needing you. Think about that for a second. The men who are most irresistible, the ones women can't stop thinking about, are never the ones chasing. They're never the ones sitting by the phone, waiting for a reply, or constantly asking, did I do something wrong? No, they're the ones who are so grounded, so emotionally self-sufficient that a woman doesn't just see them, she feels them. And that presence, that unshakable energy, is addictive. Let me tell you something that will flip your perspective. Women are biologically wired to feel emotionally safe with strong men. But strength doesn't always look like muscles or money. It looks like emotional independence. When a man is whole without her, when he doesn't rely on her for validation, happiness, or even a sense of identity, it sends a powerful signal. I am complete. I want you. But that's the kind of energy women can't resist, because deep down, it tells her that you are in control of your emotions, and she doesn't have to carry that burden. Now here's where most men get it wrong. They confuse care with dependence. They confuse effort with obsession. They think that texting her good morning every day, asking her how she feels every hour, and bending over backward for her attention will win her heart. But what really happens? She pulls away. She becomes distant. She starts to take him for granted. Why? Because the moment she senses that she's the center of his emotional universe, the mystery dies, the tension dies, and attraction fades. A man who doesn't need her emotionally still gives, but he gives from a place of abundance, not desperation. He has passions, he has goals, he has a mission that goes beyond any relationship. His life is full, and she wants to be part of that fullness, not become the only thing that fills him. That subtle distinction is everything. Women admire men who have mastered themselves, who have done the inner work. A man who knows who he is, who accepts and respects himself, doesn't crumble if she pulls away. He doesn't spiral when things get quiet. He leans into his strength. He focuses on what he can control, his thoughts, his actions, his path. And that's what makes him magnetic. When you stop trying to prove your worth to her, she starts noticing your value. When you stop chasing her validation, she starts craving your presence. That's not manipulation, that's nature. And when you finally realize that the most powerful thing you can do is to need nothing from her emotionally, you unlock a version of yourself that 95.7% of women can't help but be drawn to. She wants to feel your strength, not your struggle. Let me hit you with something that might sting at first, but will free you in the long run. The more you chase her, the less she feels for you. It sounds unfair, right? You're thinking, but I'm showing effort. I care. I'm being available. Isn't that what women say they want? No, not in the way you think. Because the truth is, when you chase a woman with all your energy, texting nonstop, showing up everywhere she is, trying too hard to impress, what she really feels is pressure. And pressure kills desire every single time. You see, attraction isn't born in the comfort zone. It's sparked in tension, in space, in curiosity. When you're always there, always calling, always giving her all of you, she doesn't have the time or space to miss you, and if she doesn't miss you, she doesn't desire you. That's the brutal truth. Women want to feel something, but when you're chasing, you rob her of the experience of longing, of wondering, of fantasizing about you. You give it all away too soon. You might think you're being romantic, that if you just show her how much you care, she'll finally see your value. But the reality is, chasing creates imbalance. It puts her on a pedestal and puts you in a position of need. And once that dynamic is set, she doesn't feel attraction, she feels obligation. And obligation never turns into desire. Think about it. The men who are truly unforgettable, they're not begging for attention. They're not constantly seeking approval. They're calm, centered, and they let things come to them. They don't need to convince a woman of their worth, because their presence already says it. When a man stands still and lets the world move around him, he becomes magnetic. Women don't chase noise. They chase silence that draws them in. Now, this doesn't mean you play games or act distant on purpose. It means you redirect your energy back to yourself. You stop making her the prize and start becoming the prize. You go to the gym, build your business, focus on your passions, you elevate. And as you do, she starts to notice. She starts to lean in. Because something about your stillness, your confidence, your refusal to chase becomes the very thing she craves. And here's the irony, when you stop chasing her, she starts chasing you, not because you manipulated her, but because you finally understood that your energy is sacred, that giving it away freely to someone who hasn't earned it is a form of self-abandonment. And when you stop abandoning yourself just to gain her attention, you become a man she can't ignore. If she's not chasing you, it's because you're doing all the running. You need to understand this if you want to shift the way women see you forever. Your attention is currency, and the moment you start treating it like loose change, people, especially women, will treat it the same way. We live in a world where likes, comments, and constant texting have diluted the value of genuine attention. But a man who learns to give his energy intentionally, not automatically, instantly, sets himself apart from the noise. When a woman realizes you don't hand your attention to just anyone, that it's earned, not given, she starts to wonder what makes you so grounded, so centered, so unavailable to the chaos. And that curiosity turns into attraction. Because here's what most men don't realize. Women watch how you move in the world. They watch how you respond to beauty, to flirtation, to distraction. If you're always complimenting every woman, reacting to every story, double tapping every selfie, she'll see you as just another man craving female validation. She won't feel special around you. She'll feel like she's just next in line. But when you carry yourself like your time is sacred, like your focus isn't up for auction, she feels your power without you having to say a word. And that silence speaks volumes. Because it tells her you're not the kind of man who chases attention. You attract it. Not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're hard to get. You're a man with discipline, a man with a vision, a man who doesn't seek his worth through how many women want him, but through how few actually get close. And let me make this very clear. This isn't about being arrogant or emotionally unavailable. It's about having standards. You don't offer your time and attention to someone just because they're attractive. You pay attention to how she speaks, how she carries herself, what energy she brings into your life. You've worked too hard on yourself to let just anyone into your mental space. That's the kind of man women respect, and respect breeds desire. Too many guys fall into the trap of thinking more attention equals more connection. But the truth is, when you give too much too soon, you take away her ability to value you. It's like handing over all the answers to a test before she's even studied. She'll pass, but it won't mean anything, and worse, she'll forget it just as quickly. You want to be unforgettable? Make your attention mean something. Let her feel the weight of your focus when you choose to give it. Make her earn it. Not because you're playing games, but because you know it's worth something. That's what makes you different, that's what makes you magnetic, and that's what makes her want to stay. She can only crave what she doesn't feel entitled to. If you don't have boundaries, you'll be used, and not just by people who mean harm. Even the woman you're crazy about will start pulling back the moment she senses you have no spine. That's not because she's cruel, it's because boundaries are the silent language of self-worth. And if you don't speak that language, she'll never see you as a man she can truly respect or desire. You want to know why some guys get walked over, ghosted, or stuck in the friend zone? It's not because they weren't good enough. It's because they were too available, too agreeable, too easy to influence. A woman might like that kind of man for a while. She might appreciate the effort, the yes to everything, the constant support. But over time, something shifts. And you can feel it, right? The energy changes, the texts slow down, the vibe disappears. You think something went wrong, and you're right. What went wrong is that you made her the center of your world without demanding the same respect in return. You lowered your standards just to keep her around, and the second she realizes you'll tolerate anything just to be with her, she stops seeing you as a challenge and starts seeing you as a doormat. Let me make this clear. Boundaries are not walls. They don't keep love out. They protect your self-respect within. When you have boundaries, you don't argue about how you should be treated. You walk away from anything that doesn't align. You don't beg for her to come back when she tests you. You don't allow disrespect to slide just because she's beautiful. You don't allow emotional manipulation just because you feel a connection. That inner line you draw, where you say, this is who I am, this is what I expect, and I won't accept less, that's what makes a woman look at you differently. That's when she starts to take you seriously. Women will push limits, not maliciously, but instinctively. They want to know who you are, what you stand for. If you bend every time, if you backtrack when there's tension, you send the message that your values are negotiable, that your self-worth is up for discussion. But when you stand firm, when you calmly but firmly express what you will and won't tolerate, you shift the dynamic. Suddenly, she sees you as a man who cannot be swayed, who isn't desperate, who won't compromise himself to be liked. That is deeply attractive. Real men don't need to raise their voices to set a standard. They do it through action, through silence, through walking away when necessary. And when you do that, when you show her that keeping you requires effort, respect, and emotional maturity, she starts showing up differently. Not because you forced her to, but because you reminded her that not all men can be controlled. And the moment she realizes she can't push you around is the moment she starts pulling closer. Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When she pulls away, do you panic or stay calm? Because that reaction tells her everything she needs to know about you. If you lose control, blow up her phone, demand answers, spiral into insecurity, you've already lost more than her interest. You've lost your power. Emotional control is not about pretending, it's about being grounded. And that energy, that calm in the middle of chaos, is what makes a man unforgettable. Most men don't realize how much their emotions reveal. The way you respond when she tests you, when she goes cold, or when things don't go your way, those are the moments that decide whether she sees you as a man or a boy. A man who can't regulate his emotions becomes emotionally heavy. He drains the moment. He makes everything about his fear of loss, about his need for reassurance. And while he might think he's being open or honest, what she sees is and instability isn't sexy. Now, imagine the opposite. Imagine she says something to provoke you, pulls away, flirts with uncertainty, and instead of reacting, you smile, you stay present, you let it roll off your shoulders because you know who you are. You don't need to defend your worth. You don't chase after explanations. You simply observe. That presence, that restraint. It doesn't make you cold. It makes you powerful. Because mystery isn't about what you say, it's about what you don't say. It's about the emotion you don't show too quickly. And when you control your emotions, you create space for her to feel hers. Women are emotional by nature. That's why they're drawn to men who can hold space, not collapse under pressure. The man who doesn't over-explain, doesn't beg, doesn't react out of fear, that man becomes the anchor in her storm. And the moment she realizes she can't shake you, that her words don't unravel you, she starts leaning in. Control your emotions and you control the frame. Control the frame and you don't just gain her respect, you awaken her desire.